What's up, YouTube? This is Strydent here, and I know it's been a minute. We just moved into the new house. It took us a while to get internet set up, and just been busy unpacking and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, in my free time, as usual, uh, especially at work when I have some free time, I've been on YouTube, and I've noticed, after talking to a couple people, including Doc Owen from Action Figure Times, um, I've noticed over the years, and even especially after having those conversations, that Mattel is really screwing with its collectors. I mean, it's bad enough that their distribution has always been pretty bad when it comes to, DC Universe Classics, which in my opinion is one of the best lines we've ever had. One of the best lines we've had, let's say, in the last, 10, 15 years. It rivals Marvel Legends in many ways, but being a big DC fan and a big DC Universe Classics collector, I think I've given them enough money to say that I don't want to go through all the hoops that they're making us go through in order to get these figures. They're good, but they're not that good that I want to go through that. I don't think any collection, except maybe the Soda Street Fighter figures, no collection is really that amazing that I need to spend that kind of money and spend that kind of time and do the song and dance that they want me to do in order to get a hold of these guys. Right now, I think it's Wave 19 is going to be the last wave in stores, which is kind of sad. And if I'm wrong about that, then it's the Stripe wave. Stripe is the collect and connect. It's the last wave that's going to be in retail, and brick and mortar retail. And the rest are all going to be available online through Matty Collector and Club Infinite Earths, which, from my understanding, Club Infinite Earths had a target number of subscriptions they were trying to hit, and they did not hit that number, but they still went ahead with the project and the club. And there's all these figures that are exclusive specifically to online, those online places, Matty Collector and the Club Infinite Earth site. I think it sucks. I don't want to pay $200 a year for a whole bunch of figures that I'm not really interested in, and one or two that I am. I want to have the choice to actually go into a brick and mortar store, see the character I want, and get it, pay the amount for the individual character. I mean, you guys have seen a lot of my collection. You haven't even seen the whole thing. And I think I've spent just in Batman alone. I think I've spent enough money to say that I'm a pretty devoted customer, because the product is a very good product. And I've put in the time, I've done the hunt, I've had to search stores for figures and then turn around and buy it online and pay twice what the figure is actually worth. I've done it. I've bought multiples of the same figure just so I could customize it and make sure I don't screw up and have, a busted version of that figure. I've done it. So I've sent a lot of money in Mattel's way, and a whole lot of us, and many of you have too. I think it's about time they get their shit straight. I've noticed that there's a lot of disregard for the consumer, and there's, a lot of companies are doing that these days. Video game companies are doing it with these online passes where, you got to buy the game new. If you buy it used, you're screwed. You have to buy it new, otherwise you can't do all the online stuff. Marvel Legends, for how long have we been waiting for Marvel Legends to come back? And they're not back yet. They're on their way, but they're not really back yet. And, with changing hands as far as management goes, you have problems sometimes, and that's just not cool for us. I mean, we shouldn't have to worry about the politics of the business when we go out and buy the figure that we want to buy. We should just know that a company makes these figures, and there they are, you know? I mean, because of the shoddy strategy that Mattel has had, I've moved over to back to Hasbro, and I've been collecting GI Joes, and my son and I have been enjoying it because considering how small they are, you get way more in a GI Joe package than you do in a DC Universe Classics or a Marvel Legends. Most 8-inch figures, 6 to 8-inch figures, it seems like lately they don't package them with anything, so it feels like you're spending an arm and a leg and you get nothing. I mean, the Green Lantern Classics, most of them didn't even come with power batteries. All those lanterns you see there, and I don't even have one power battery because none of them came with one. It's ridiculous, you know? So I hope to see in the future, which we probably won't, but it would be nice if, Mattel gets their shit straight, you know? Give us better articulation, a little bit more articulation, double jointed elbows and knees on most of the characters, if not all of them. Package our figures with more shit. And I'm saying this because, like I said, Soda, the company that did the Street Fighter figures, did a good job looking at Marvel Legends and then looking at everything else that was out and saying how much articulation is needed for each character. And they went based on the design of the character. They didn't just give you a generic body type, or 3 generic sizes and then, articulation that everyone has. It's the same. They said, is this character agile? If he is, then he's wiry. You could add in more joints, or you could, make him a little bit more flexible here and there, or her more flexible here and there. And they gave them all accessories that actually work with the character and enhance the whole sculpt that you got. We want that with our DC Universe Classics. Shit, even some of the Marvel Legends figures had accessories that actually enhance the whole aesthetic with the figure. I mean, what's going on with you guys? They do it with the He-Man Masters of the Universe Classics. They need to do this with the DC Universe Classics. And I know Mattel's being cheap, but I mean, people aren't gonna spend that $200 a month for Club Infinite Earths and Matty Collector, because a lot of people want to have the choice. They want to be able to pick and choose what figures they want. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that have disposable income, or they've created a fund so that they can afford any of the figures in the line and all of the figures in the line, and sometimes doubles and triples so they can sell them on eBay. I know those people exist, but there's a huge majority of collectors that are normal, average people like me, and we just like what we like, and we want to be able to build our collection how we see fit. We don't want someone to dictate to us how to do it. And Mattel's been dropping the ball. Young Justice, ridiculous. I mean, Robin is all roided up, and then on the box they got a picture of the Robin from the TV show, and he's skinny as hell. And it's like, how come you guys couldn't get that right? Then they have the 3 different sizes or 2 different sizes, and the figures are so expensive. $20 because the figure comes with a stand. I mean, come on, guys, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. And then they're bigger, more accurate sculpted, iconic parents, quote unquote. They go for $14.99. I mean, come on, something's wrong with that. I know it's the new shit, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense, So, like I said, better articulation, meaning double jointed elbows and knees, better head joints, more accessories, better distribution, and get rid of that online shit, because it's killing it, They said that the last wave of, and I'm not saying these things were amazing, but the Green Lantern movie masters, the last 2 waves are going to be at select online retailers, and some of them may actually be in stores. You know how much that sucks? There's a lot of people out there who actually want to finish Parallax. I'm not one of them. I've been trying to trade my pieces on Raving Toy Maniacs shop in all kinds of different places, and I've been failing with that because it seems like the site's being hacked on a regular basis, but it's besides the point. There still are people out there who want those figures, you know? And it's kind of lame that you're doing them like that, you know? I think a lot of the problem is unrealistic goals as far as numbers go, and you know, unrealistic conditions as far as, you know, how well you make these figures, what you package them with. Your budgeting restraints are unrealistic because yes, you save money because you reuse parts, but at the same time that doesn't mean that Batman can't come with a Batarang. Doesn't mean you can't sculpt his hands so he can hold stuff. I mean, you did it the first time out. Why is it the last like 5 or 6 different versions of the figure have been sans the ability to hold things? That's kind of, you know, that's kind of whack. So, you know, I think I'm asking for some basic things, you know. The online thing, online should be a choice. Some of us don't really play with that internet stuff. The first time I used eBay, for instance, some dude in like Chile or Spain or something had my credit card number, and the place said it was secure. I used PayPal, so somebody knew what they were doing. So, you know, there's other people who've heard horror stories and they're afraid to do that. So, you know, it seems unfair that if you're a fan of this particular line or these particular heroes, you kind of have to go through these hoops to get these figures, you know? And it was bad enough that we also had people online jacking up the prices for figures that hadn't come out yet in all areas, you know? So you got to buy a figure that costs, I don't know, $14 for, I don't know, 50, depending on who it is, where they are, and how soon the distribution centers release those figures to your stores, you know, stores in your area. I think it's BS. It's just poor planning in so many areas, and Mattel, you need to get that shit straight. So I just wanted to, you know, vent my frustrations on this because I really like this line, and I was hoping that, you know, the issues that we've all been seeing with this line would be fixed, you know, in a decent time. They'd be fixed, I want to say, with later lines, you know. I was hoping that the awesome Green Lantern version, or I'm sorry, Green Arrow version 2 with the hood and the sword and blah 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 was gonna hit shelves out here, and I think it might. I want to wait and see what happens because I have no idea. But you know, there's a lot of figures. Red Arrow, I wanted to see those figures out here. Jay Garrick, I was hoping to get him so I could finish my Justice Society. But you know, some of that stuff, I think for real, they're losing a fan, because I'm still a DC fan, you know. I plan on going back and working for DC at some point, but as far as collecting this line goes, once they're done with the retail, I'm done collecting this line, and I'm gonna jump back into G.I. Joe and everything else, because as I've been showing you with the Joes, we're amassing a pretty nice collection of Joes, and they're cheaper. I can find them everywhere. I mean, I just found Stalker after searching for a while, and I guess I just had to wait for the right time. But every single figure, I have every single figure in that line that I wanted from the 30th anniversary. And it all just dropped in the last 2 months, and I have, or 3 months, and I have every single figure that I wanted from there, and I've seen, and I still have the opportunity to pick up all the others. That's how you distribute. It's not this shit where every other line, every other wave is a Walmart or a Toys R Us exclusive or a blah blah blah. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, just make it store wide. Everyone can get it wherever. Nationwide, just distribute the figures and stop with all the games, you know? It's just frustrating. So anyway, that's me just speaking my piece. And, you know, there's a lot of other lines that do similar things. You know, I'm not a big fan of the Masters of the Universe classics because, once again, Mattel pulls all kinds of bullshit with these figures. The QC is just horrible, you know. My Vicor has like a melted foot, so it's slightly warped. I don't know how it was melted in the package, you know, and that's not their fault. The first time that I ordered one from Mattel it was Mattel or Matty Collector or something like that. They sent it to some random person in New York. So I had to call them again and be like, yo, you sent it to the wrong place. I waited months for that damn figure. And, it's just stupid stuff, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be very simple, straightforward, and, we shouldn't have these issues. Most of us are adults and we're collecting these things, we got jobs. We know that we got to do our job a certain way so that the wheels of everything else can turn properly. So somebody, and it seems like a lot of people at Mattel and their higher ups, they need to get their shit together so that, the wheels turn properly at Mattel, or you need to start firing folks because it's not working, homie. So anyway, I'm Strydent. I hope everything's been going good for everybody. Hope your Thanksgiving was awesome, and I will have more reviews and vids for you in the coming weeks. All right, guys. So stay tuned, and as always, check out my website. Peace outside.